to Portman Road. This sound indicates an important announcement.
Counting down to Christmas, busy making plans. I got the mother-in-law knocking at my door. We all need to lend a hand.
Counting down to Christmas, queuing at the shops. It'll be next year till we get out of here. I gotta pull out all the stops. La 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 la, it never ever stops.
It's Christmas Day, what do you say to a glass of red or white wine? So spread a little cheer to those who hold dear. Well, that's gonna suit me just fine. It's Christmas Day and we're on the way to see our family. Missed by kids quite fast where the Wi-Fi. That's gonna suit me just fine. We all sit down for Christmas telly.
Hello again, friends, and you are my friends, and welcome into your most comprehensive, balanced Ipswich Town podcast there is available. We will discuss everything to do with Ipswich Town this week, from Marcus Evans's statement to the game yesterday to the game midweek. There's been 2 games this week, and they seem a million miles apart from each other, almost like they were played in different seasons. As always, we thank you for joining us this afternoon, and we thank you to every single Talking Town Hall of Famer. There are more names to add to that list, so thank you so much. And as always, you can support the show via the links available in the chat. So, yesterday we won, much to some fans' annoyance. Not mine, obviously, as you can see. I come with a poster on the wall of the manager. That tells you straight away what this show's all about. And we would like to have your input. So, as always, please get yourself busy in the chat. Or if you want to go one step further and say, do you know what, I want my voice heard, I want my voice unfiltered, you are more than welcome on this show. As the introduction there with the beautiful Matthew Phillips singing that beautiful song. Trust me, this afternoon, you will be replaying it in your head. It's definitely an earworm. You are more than welcome on the show. Just ask for the link. I can see Andrew Arbon's in the chat. Welcome in, Andrew. Stephen Perry, good afternoon. Paul Hedger, good afternoon. Terry, JT, the legend that is JT. JT, thank you so much for your contribution last night, my man. I really appreciate that. Stuart Codling, good afternoon. And Callie, the man, the myth, the legend. So, hopefully we'll have sore feet for the beat joining us towards the end of the show today to discuss some fantastic news that he has to share. Harry Butcher, I don't really rate him as a player, but he always seems to pop up with good goals. Well, I'm sure we'll discuss that in just a second. As always, you can help this show in growing by sharing it to your timeline. If you're on Facebook, hit the share button or tag a friend. If you're on Twitter, retweet it. I will bring in the man that joined me yesterday for the matchday ticket. He is, of course, our resident media mogul, bringing you yesterday's news today, or was it tomorrow's news today? I forget. Either way, here he is. Good afternoon, Matthew. How are you?
Good afternoon. How are we all? I'm good. I'm good, thank you. I'm in a chat.
That is a beautiful song, by the way.
Well, yeah, back in my songwriting days. Yeah.
It's a really good little tune. I would have brought Cruncher in first, but he's disappeared off the off the dashboard. So I'm waiting for him to return. So I brought you in first, Matt. Yesterday, obviously, we'll touch on the game and we'll go into it in more detail. Obviously, during the show and when Cruncher returns. What were your 24-hour thoughts post-match now? You know, we've gone past the highs and the lows that you have after the game. What are you left with?
I was neither in a high or a low yesterday, to be honest with you. I still feel like we're prolonging the inevitable that Lambert will go at some point, but we'll get into that a little bit later, I guess. Didn't play very well, particularly. Plymouth looked like they were a fairly good side. And then, of course, the changing moment was the 2 yellows for Mayer that got him sent off, of which Ryan Lowe, their manager, I thought was incredibly harsh. But the fact was, he was time wasting because they did take a good minute to take that corner.
They really did, yeah.
And then it was like a little petulant trip on, I can't remember who it was, Dobra or somebody. I
didn't see it, I'll be honest.
So
I was peeling onions. I'd had enough. At half time, my head had gone. My threshold had been reached. And
Yeah,
then I
teasing
saw
your
us-
eyes at half time, and then when you're peeling in the onions, presumably.
Yeah, and then so I thought, right, we're having a sausage casserole for dinner. I'm going to go and get a head start on the veg. And then I heard it, so I came back into the living room to see it.
Running back in, see what's going on. Yeah. So that was the turning point. So 72 minutes were very good. 73 minutes on. Suddenly, I mean, like I said on the show yesterday, that's the second time Plymouth have done that this season. They were 1 up against Portsmouth at home. Then they let in literally 2 in like 2 minutes. Well, this time I think it was 2 in a minute, wasn't it? With the goals.
Certainly was, yeah.
It was a great strike from Nolan. He does. We were talking about him yesterday, weren't we? You know, he does his better work progressing forward, and there he was on the edge of the box.
He's
and then,
got a knack of popping up.
Yeah, he has.
It's just don't hang your hat on him.
Yeah. Interestingly, I looked at a heat map yesterday. I'm into this now. Thanks
You
to
love
Adam.
those, didn't you?
Yeah. Adam Flapp, that app he told us about. He was sat back further than McGavin was in terms of the overall play, which was interesting because we didn't know how that was going to pan out or how those two would play together yesterday. But McGavin was actually, in terms of the heat map across the 90 minutes or how many minutes they played, he was the more progressive midfielder. But yeah, Nolan was there on the edge of the box to score that goal. So yeah, they did show a winning mindset, Ipswich. They were clinical to win the game, albeit against 10 men. We've not really seen that much this season. So as I said yesterday, we just probably need to play against 10 men every week and we'll be in the Championship in no time.
I can see the cruncher is back, so I'll bring him in just a second. Before I do, Matt, do you think we're the only podcast to have that man on, Paul Lambert?
I would imagine so. I mean, someone sent you that, didn't they? A little gift, the £2.50 they've spent on you.
When I find out who it is, you know. But I just thought, hang on, we've got Paul Lambert on the show, technically, you know, and he might use a bit more.
Allowed you to
today.
blue tack that to the wall.
Well, she's not happy. She's not happy.
No,
but we will get into Paul Lambert and his press conference, I'm sure, throughout the show, because it was another interesting one yesterday.
Yeah.
Leighton Durrant, lovely chest down from Hawkins to Jackson.
it was.
Best only things ever done for us.
Other than score against Crew, of course.
Yeah, Tom Page, Nolan more impressive than McGavin for me. Also thought Judge look. You see, this is what I was saying yesterday, wasn't it, though, Matt, about how John Nolan looking more impressive than Brett McGavin should not be seen as a oh my God, he's better than Brett McGavin. We paid money for John Nolan. He should be better than Brett McGavin.
Yeah, but they're also working in a tandem, aren't they, as well? I mean, you don't kind of like single out players and say, oh, he's miles better than each other. When they were sitting in that sort of that two out of the three midfield, they've got to be working together, haven't they? But no, I mean, Nolan's been around the block. He's played for a lot of clubs. Started his career at Everton. McGavin's, he only played how many games on one hand, can you?
So impressed with him, though. I'm so impressed with him, and
Yeah,
I'll
like
get
he's
Cruncher
got
in now because he's a Brett McGavin fan. So, guys, flash photography incoming. Cruncher! Brett McGavin! Is he making the club regret the Cole Skuse contract deal every time he puts a pair of football boots on?
Don't be silly.
Don't be silly.
Don't be silly. Talking nonsense.
About Brett McGavin?
No, about Scoos.
Oh. so he is making the club regret the contract deal.
Well, we've talked about that contract before. It's a waste of time, isn't it? He's doing some coaching in Ipswich at the school now, isn't he? I see.
Yeah.
Scoos.
Is it St Joseph's or something? Is that
Where he's heading. Anyway, look at me nice jumper. Look at that.
It's a very nice jumper. It's a very nice. Were you impressed with McGavin yesterday? I know we've mentioned the contract before, Crunch, but did you expect this much from him this early?
I wouldn't go as far as Johnny Duncan saying he's going to be world class. Look, we're all big fans of McGavin. I thought yesterday he had a quiet game. I thought I didn't think he was terrible, but I didn't really think he put his stamp on the game. It wasn't really a surprise to me when they made the change and he came off. But I'd expect him to probably still start next week. You'll bring Dazelle back in. I think Lancaster might sort of go out the 11. I'll bring McGavin in, and that'd be the only change from from the team for next week for me, unless they've got injuries and anyone coming back, which Paul Lambert never knows. So,
well, he does. He doesn't like to just reveal too much in the press. I think a lot of it is gamesmanship. A lot of it is not letting the opposition know who to prepare for, who to expect. And I think that plays into the Phil Hand thing, doesn't it? Because if that is such an issue for Paul, that is why he is the way he is on a Friday morning with the press, because he doesn't want the opposition having that advantage over his club.
Well, he doesn't want to do the media either, I don't think. He's not particularly media friendly, is he?
Nonsense, isn't it, Matt?
Yeah, he's a little bit. I mean, I knew someone who used to interview him when he was at Colchester, and they said it was like getting blood out of a stone. So I think he's always. I do still feel like he's probably a very different character behind the scenes, but he obviously doesn't like the media. He obviously doesn't like Brenner asking him too difficult a question, which he found out after the Oxford game, and they weren't particularly difficult questions, were they? They weren't exactly what you'd be getting in the firing line at a press conference in the Premier League, for example. It was a local journalist asking why we drew 0-0 with Oxford. Yeah.
Do you think, Lars, we'll start with Paul Lambert before we go into yesterday's thoughts with Cruncher on the game and get them in more detail? I know he was on the ticket after the game. But do you think yesterday's press conference afterwards, the cryptic interviews, we saw something like that post-Gillingham, where he was then given a 5-year deal? Now, I don't want people to suddenly get upset. Well, he's not going to get a 10-year contract. It is December. Let's try and keep the spirits high. But it was strange yesterday, wasn't it, guys? And maybe do you think he had a chat with Evans, or there was a lack of chat from Evans during the week where he was kind of given the green light to say what he likes or not say what he likes? Like, was yesterday Paul Lambert sort of backing away from the media and saying, do you know what, I'm not going to give you anything to write or anything to post?
Maybe. He kept sort of saying, move on, didn't he? We'll move on.
Yeah. Like, I know what's wrong, but I won't say it.
Yeah. Well, that was very interesting, that, wasn't it? That's the take home from the whole interview, wasn't it? I know what was it? What we need to improve or where we're going wrong or something. But I'll keep those thoughts to myself.
He said he got something. What had he got on his mind? He said he got something on his mind, didn't he?
He did. Yes. Stuff was on his mind, and when he was asked again further, would the win lift the negativity? He said something along the lines of, "I know what needs to happen to lift the negativity, but I'll keep that to myself."
Yeah,
probably him leaving.
Yeah, exactly.
No. This man behind me would probably think, actually, of banning all you lot, because I ain't got to answer any questions then, and they can't be negative. Because he thinks they're being negative. Whether we think it, whether they or not, he thinks it, and that's the most important thing, because he's the guy answering the questions.
It's borne out by the results, isn't it, at the end of the day? I mean, look, I had a little chat with David, who sits next to me at Fulham Road yesterday on WhatsApp. And he, great guy, David. And he was like, he agreed with Lambert in a way. He said, we don't want this negativity to filter into the squad and everything. And I said, yeah, but he's lucky to still be in the role. Should have gone in March, really. And he said, well, that was last season, Matt. That's a closed book now. I said, it's not really, because it's a continuation of the book for me, because the performances haven't got any better. And we've only won the game really yesterday because they went down to 10 men. We were well on the way to losing that game 1 or 2-0, I felt. That's the reality. But the reality, of course, is we got the 3 points. Happy days.
We
but
did.
It took a red card, which you're not going to get in every game.
Well, did it take a red card, Cruncher, or did it take Lambert changing the game? Because he changed that game yesterday.
Yeah, he did make. Yeah, he made a couple of substitutions, bringing on Hawkins. Obviously, went 2 up. Look, Matt, hindsight's a great thing. It's all right for everyone to say we wouldn't have won that game if they had 11 on the pitch. Nobody knows that. No one knows what would have happened. We could all say it probably looked like we might lose, but Plymouth, I thought they'd run out of gas. I thought exactly when they went down to 10, it was like I posted the Ryan Lowe interview to you guys earlier, and he was saying that he would have been what was the guy who got sent off?
Danny Mayer.
Yeah, he would have filled them gaps, obviously, where Nolan was, which is a fair point. And if you look at it, I thought the first yellow, I thought that was very harsh. He's got 35 minutes to go, and he's booked in for time wasting.
I agreed with it. I was sat there myself thinking, when's he going to take this corner?
Yeah, but would every referee give a yellow, Matt? This is what I'm saying. It's the inconsistencies, because we see in the first half, I watched it back this morning, the penalty on Jack Lancaster is absolutely nailed on. And how he gives the free... I've watched it 3 times. How he gives a free kick to them, there's nothing there. That is a stonewall penalty. So we could
say yesterday over that. Yeah, Martin told me.
We could say that would have changed the game. We could have gone 1-0 up and it'd have been a different game. It's all like little incidents in games. But I thought, to be fair, the way we come back when immediately they went down to 10, we got right on the front foot and we went out and we got them 2 goals quick. And then I thought we sat back a little bit after that. I thought we might go on and get another goal. When at the end it was a little bit sort of scary moments. Cornell obviously came out and McGuinness got in his way, didn't he? And then they had a bit of a row. What was it with did you get on the feed yesterday? Cornell was wearing 2 different colour shirts.
Yes, we did. Yeah. Orange and then pink then orange.
Yeah.
What was he actually wearing?
Pink. I think it was pink.
I've got no idea. I've got zero idea, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
but,
it was weird.
About referee decisions, guys. Sunderland, we were on the way to winning that game before that referee changed it. So they evened themselves out, right? Because we were having the better of the play. Lancaster just blazed over the bar from 6 yards out. We were on top. Then Andre got sent off, and there's that million debate. We've had it before. We won't go back into it. So this was the evening out, wasn't it? Where you could say harsh, but it helped us in this occasion. But
this is where our fans are saying, Martin, because when it works for us, they'll say we wouldn't have won that game. We wouldn't have won that game. Yet I know Matt will still say it was a penalty. It was not a penalty, and that cost us in that game. So we have to give a little bit of leeway. It seems sometimes, I'm his biggest fan, but sometimes you do have to give the manager a bit of credit, even if you don't like him. It was last night. We were all happy. We should be happy that we got 3 points out of that game because it was a very important victory.
Well, I mean, it's the difference between falling out of the top 6 and going into third, I think. But Rich, your internet keeps dropping out. Maybe you want to get back on your iPad, maybe. It was better on that pre-show.
Yeah.
I'm right next to the router.
I'll tell you what, before we move on to the team's performance yesterday, I just want to play you something that you flagged up and other people flagged up during the week. It was a Paul Lambert interview, and obviously we all go through the motions with Paul's interviews. They're all rather the one tone. Now, is that a new thing, or has that always been the case? Well, let's check it out.
Aston Villa manager Paul Lambert joins us now. Paul, a 9-0 home defeat by Manchester City. You must be one very disappointed manager right now.
Not at all. I thought we were fantastic. I thought we played some brilliant football. You've got to put it in perspective. Man City are a huge club and Champions League and all that. And we're Aston Villa. The fact is that it should be 9-0. The fact that our players have only made it 9 is testament to how well they've done for me today. I thought it was a fantastic result for the football club. Every Aston Villa player can go off their pitch there feeling their head high, because that's the way it should be. We're Aston Villa. We're not supposed to beat teams like Man City.
Every time I see it, it gets better and better. Every time. Yeah. We're not supposed to beat Man City. Yeah, we're Aston. It is on YouTube for those that want to see the full clip, and it just gets better. It just gets better. It was hard to really.
The Benteke bit's quite funny. He's missed 5 penalties. He says, "Well, at least he gets it. He's in the penalty box."
It was a struggle to pull out 40 seconds worth of content to choose from.
Really good.
But it is quite good. Obviously, you've got Benjamin, who was on the show yesterday. He does a really good Paul Lambert impression as well. And if you have got a Paul Lambert impression, do send it to us. We'd love to play it on the show. Throw in the usual impressives and throw a Scottish accent in, and you're... the only thing he misses really from the old stereotype, it's been a murder. That's the only thing he doesn't say. So, the performance of the team. Who stood out for you, Crunch? I'll ask you first because you weren't on the show. Who really stood out yesterday for you?
Is the internet all right now?
Yeah, it's good. That one's down there.
We've had a bit of criticism about Stephen Hunt, haven't we, Matt? Is Stephen Hunt playing left back?
yeah.
Poor old Marcus. He's a legend. Leave him alone. He can do no wrong.
Stephen Ward, he's not, since he's came back from his injury, I think he's struggled. But yesterday, I thought he was, I think he was probably our standout player. I thought he got forward well. He obviously had a hand in both goals. I thought Dobber had a good game. I wouldn't say he done anything amazing, but I thought he was a lot better than he was at Oxford. He played a little bit of a different role. And I think he's the type of player who, now he's played 2 games consecutively, he needs to keep playing him now. You know, because there is. I know Martin will say he's not ready for the first team, but I think fair play to him. He had the confidence to say to Paul Lambert, "Look, I didn't want to go to Crawley," and look, fair play, fair enough. If we had a full squad, he probably wouldn't have been anywhere near the first team, would he? But it's all about taking your opportunity when it comes along. And I thought yesterday, he grabbed it with both hands, and he gets a lot of fouls. You know, I think he's quite tricky. I'd like to see him score a goal, but then I think that we'd like anyone to score a goal. But I thought them 2 were probably our 2 best players.
Yeah, I would echo that. Yeah, I'd agree with that. I thought Dobra, I probably would give it to Dobra. It was nice to see Ward, because we've been a bit critical of Ward, haven't we? Since he got injured at MK Dons and then came back after that ankle injury, he's been a bit, I don't know, he's almost sort of disappeared a little bit. He had so much influence in that first game against Wigan, didn't he? When he took that really quick free kick while everyone was sleeping and we scored the Bishop header from it. But yeah, he got into those 2 positions yesterday. And
I think the goalkeeper as well, Matt. I think the goalkeeper, I feel...
Orange, by the way,
he's only played 3 games, Cornell, but I feel a little bit more confident with him in between the sticks.
Yeah. Do you think, look at the incident with McGuinness, do you think Holy would have squared up to McGuinness?
No.
He towered over him for starters.
I don't think Holy would have come for the ball in the first place.
Well, yeah, exactly.
That's a big criticism of mine of Holy, as you two know.
Dracula, isn't it?
He is. No, he is. You know, for a 9-foot goalkeeper, you're enough scared of coming to catch a ball.
It's interesting what you say about Ward there, having a hand in both the goals, because going back to the heat map again, we had a lot of width in defence yesterday in terms of Chambers and Ward trying to get forward, and the midfield was incredibly narrow, which you wouldn't really expect when you're supposed to have, even with the 3 strikers, it was incredibly narrow. And I looked at where Real Madrid played at 4-3-3. Okay, different universe of quality, right? But it's still keeping that position. There's so much width to our Real Madrid play, to our Ipswich play, which is incredibly narrow in the middle of the park. But it's interesting that both our goals really sort of came from that, with Ward's influence.
I thought we moved the ball a lot quicker yesterday, because some of the games has been really ponderous, isn't it? And we're just. Yes. But I thought we did move. We had a bit more intent going forward. I know the first half Jackson had a good chance. It was a lovely ball from Lancaster through. Dobber had a shot. Brilliant. So it wasn't as though we didn't have. Well, Jackson was the only clear chance, but we were creating things. Even in the second half, before they went down to 10 men, we were knocking on the door. I thought we were more likely to score than they were.
Do you feel like it crossed the line, that goal? Do you feel like it crossed the line?
Yeah, it was in.
It was
They were pretty eagle-eyed, the officials on that, but weren't.
He's got the watch, hasn't he? He's got the watch that vibrates. Has he got the watch that vibrates?
Not at this level.
Do they have that in League One?
Nope. Not at this level. I think the linesman gave it.
Yeah, I thought it was in.
That side.
I thought it was in.
Yeah, England have won a World Cup on something like this, so let's not go too far into it.
Who scored the goal for them? The big striker,
Jeff Cott.
I was quite impressed with him. I thought when he went off, they sort of went out the game. They took him off. I was a little bit surprised there, because I thought he was probably their sort of main goal threat. I thought Noble first half was a bit of a menace, wasn't he?
He played that central striker role and bringing in the wider players really nicely, I thought, because Conor Grant who was on loan at Town, was one of those players, wasn't he? For them.
Yeah. I think with your heat map thing, and obviously I've not seen it, but I think with the 3-5-2, you've got a lot of numbers centrally. So I think with my manager's hat on, the game plan yesterday was to bring them centrally, as in we'll suck them in, and then we'll get players around the outsides. And yesterday was real complementary football for the first time in a long time, and that's why Dobra stood out. That's why Lancaster looked good, because you had players, as I said pre-game, that can get on the ball and hurt people, and obviously with Dobra, Jackson, and Lancaster, they're 3 players that know how to beat people. They've got pace, they've got trickery, and we've seen it up for years as a Town fan. I mean, poor old, was it Bradley Orr that got absolutely turned inside out at Leicester? Like, pace pace hurts you, doesn't it? Yes. And yesterday we had pace about us, and where there was those 2 goals came about because we were able to exploit space with pace. When you play players such as Hawkins with Judge and maybe Hughes, that's not complementary football.
No,
You're not playing to their
quite.
strengths.
Mm.
But yesterday was a big strength. And Dobra looked good.
Talking of playing to the strengths, Martin, I think like the second goal. Look, I've been a critic of Hawkins, but that showed to me. And if you listen to Caden Jackson's interview after the game, it's quite interesting. He prefers to play with a partner, he said, and run off him. And it was a good ball. At first, the ball in from Ward was a good ball because all too often, sometimes when you get a big target man up there, the ball's pinging up to his head, it's all over the place. It was a quality ball in, but it showed what Hawkins could do if he had a partner playing with him.
Well, that's why we said that on the pre-match show yesterday, Rich. We said Jackson was bought by Hurst, really playing a two, wasn't he? Not as a lone striker with two supporting wingers with him. He turned heads and scored a lot of goals for Accrington because he was in a two. Probably with that what's his face, Billy Key. Billy Key was it?
Yeah.
Was with Accrington.
It's all about playing to people's strengths, though. You would have thought, and getting the best out of what you've got available.
Yeah,
I'm just not sure Hawkins has a lot of strengths. Like against better players, he's so easy to mark.
Yeah, but you've just got to look at Portsmouth. The Portsmouth guy we had on, he said when he played in that middle of a three with Ronan Curtis and Lowe, he played his best football. But you've got to, if you're playing that role, you've got to get the two wide players have got to get close to him. It's no good them being out wide and too far away from him. They've got to play around him. So when he can get hold of that ball, and then they're in. And it showed with the second goal. It was a lovely little layoff, and Jackson, nice little left-footed finish. There's been a bit of a few people having a whinge on Twitter. I didn't really buy into it about giving it the shush and the ears, but I thought that was more probably directed to the Plymouth fans in the ground, because I think they were booing the sending off. I'm not really buying it. It was like another fingers in the ears moment. I think sometimes with our fans, we've won the game. Just let it go, Let's enjoy getting 3 points, looking at the league table this morning, and we're third in the division. And move on to next.
Met Twitter? Have you not met? It spends its life being outraged. Like if it can't find outrage, it will create outrage.
Definitely.
And
I do agree. I do agree with that, Rich. But you and me both don't want Paul Lambert to be the manager of our club. Therefore, that campaign steps back a couple of yards, doesn't it? It's
all about winning games, mate. We might not want him in, but if we keep winning games, does it really matter if you're Lambert in or Lambert out? Winning games is it's what we play football for. It's what we play football for.
Yeah.
It's about that result on a Saturday. I'm learning from you. It's about that result on a Saturday. I'll have a poster up next week. Everyone they can. But it's all about the result, isn't it? It's all about the result on a Saturday. And if next week, now is the important thing. We've got 4 points from these two games away, which I think...
Good return.
It's a good return, but now you've got to back it up.
Yeah.
Callie's outraged that I wasn't outraged.
That's Twitter. That is Twitter, though, in a nutshell. That I'm upset that you're not upset, so I'll be upset for you.
Yeah, on your behalf.
But now you've got to back it up in them two home games against Portsmouth and Burton. If you take 4 points from them, I think you'd be happy.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Because as Matt said yesterday, it's promotion form.
It's 2 points a game. They say if you average 2 points a game, pick up another 4 in them two, the last 4 games, it'll be... Look, we all want to succeed. If Lambert's the manager and he takes us up, I would love him to stick 2 fingers up to me, 2 fingers up to Matt, and 2 fingers up to everybody else. Because
how confident are you that will happen?
I'm not that confident.
Would you be willing to put yourself on the line? You'll do a podcast in your pants, as you said yesterday, if Lambert wins promotion for us.
I said if McGuinness played for Arsenal, which he'll never. Come on, he's not.
But we know you've got a big female following, you see, so we get those extra views. Where
I don't think Lambert's going to get us promoted. I've said it all along.
No, I don't think he will. All right, I'll go on the line and I will do it in my pants if we get promoted in May.
Gary Lineker-esque. Amy Downs, I want to be proven wrong about Lambert. I want us to win all our games and go up. But the win yesterday doesn't even slightly convince me that we will manage that. Now, you see, I was saying this to my wife, right? I was saying Paul Lambert is now in this zone as a manager where he can do no right.
Can you put Malcolm's comment up?
Didn't Cruncher say he'd rather
No,
League
I
One
didn't.
and no Lambo?
I don't think I said that. I done a poll because we had a question, didn't we?
You
Terry.
did.
A lot of
Big
it on here.
big tell.
When you get thrown something, you answer it straight away, don't you? It's all right in the light of day. Someone saying, "Oh, you said that." Hang on, you come and sit in front of a microphone and have questions thrown at you. We all say things that we probably didn't mean at the time. Not that I'm saying Lambert in. I'm thinking about it.
Yeah. We'll ignore the half-time show yesterday, for example, because that didn't happen in my world. That didn't happen. This poster fell off. It wasn't taken off.
It's
Anyway,
what you said, Ryan. It's what you text us. It's a 90-minute game.
and I forgot that. I forgot my own rule. But I was saying to the wife yesterday, Paul Lambert is now, good evening, afternoon, Johnny, is now in that zone as a manager where he can't do any right. He goes 4-4-2. He was forced to. A man sent off. Or he plays Dobra. The pressure's getting to him. Like every time he does something that you've been calling for, it's now but that's because. Or we won because. Like Mick McCarthy for a while was in that zone where he can't do any right. And that Lambert now firmly is in that with the fan base. Like Amy's comment there, it wasn't convincing, but we won. Like whether it's 5-0 or 1-0 on the stat sheet at the end of the season, it will say 3 points.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Lambert's made his own bed there slightly, hasn't he? He said, do you know what I mean? He's so we just can't identify with him. As I said to you yesterday, mine. At the end of the day, we have got a Norwich City Hall of Fame manager in charge of the first team, and whilst looking after the under-23 team, are 3 absolute town royalty legends in Dyer, Butcher, and Dazelle. It seems like it's all round the wrong way, doesn't it? But there we go.
Well, except Dyer hasn't managed. Butcher's failed.
Jason,
they've all had a crack at it, really, or they're waiting to have a crack at it. And like with Kieran Dyer, I keep hearing the whole we should put Dyer in charge. But if it's so important this season that we go up, why would you risk putting a guy in?
Yeah, what is that based on? I do get that. Well, should Lambert, I said to you yesterday, didn't I, after the show, should Lambert go, right? It would be such a huge thing for Evans after his statement this week to put those 3 in charge of the first team, albeit in a short-term basis, because suddenly then everyone's invested again, aren't they? With those 3 players, those 3 legends of ITFC suddenly looking after the side. But yeah, to say give Dyer a go is based on nothing but the fact we all love Kieran Dyer.
It's on your heart. People think in their heart, Matt. That's what the Dyer is.
It's just the argument cruncher. Like I get it. It's to some people. It's so important this season. It's vital. Salary cap, all this different information. But if it's so important, why would you not then go and get somebody like Paul Cook, like Cowley's, who have got the proven record? That because it's so important against. It's so important. But then
they might not come. They might think, look, we've got no budget at Ipswich. They might think, don't fancy that.
I still find that unbelievable, even when Lambert said it in the press on Friday. There's no money at this club. I think that's Martin always says.
He said
the Queen.
Yeah, but what he said, he contradicted himself, Matt, because he said there's no money. Yeah, then he went on to say about some signings in January. So we've either got no money.
Yeah.
Couldn't really.
As I always say, excuse me while I don't cry for a multi-millionaire.
Yeah.
Like I'm not going to feel sorry for him. He bought this club. Like Didier Smith, right? When she passes away, she's going to give the club to her nephew, I believe, right? So that guy, who probably isn't very rich, I don't know him from Adam, is going to inherit a football club. Marcus Evans didn't inherit this from some great uncle he'd never met. He bought it, and he bought it for a reason. So excuse me while I don't sob into a tissue because it's not quite worked out for him, and now it's a bit of an issue. We've got Lewis Mitchell. Lambert is not a good person. Few people in football have a good word to say about him. He's treated Phil Ham with contempt. He's a glorified cheerleader and relies on so-called tacticians around him.
That's, we were talking about Phil Ham yesterday, and, I know a few of the guys. One of my friends knows a lot of the guys who work in the Midlands media, and one of them was one of the guys banned by Lambert Villa, and it was never rescinded. He only got to go back to Villa Park when Lambert left. So he's such a hard-nosed guy. For poor Phil, who's not done anything wrong.
Here's a question for you from Game Leaks. When Big Mick was in, it was, I'd rather lose and watch good football than watch hoofball. Now the team are playing better football under Lambert. People would rather hoofball and win. So the question to you two from me off that statement is this better football, in your opinion, than when Mick McCarthy was manager?
What are we going on the whole tenure of Mick?
Yeah.
Because it gradually got worse, didn't it?
Yeah.
Well, no,
The
I suppose we
watershed
have to-
moment was
we have to
the
go after last
5-1 at
season.
Reading. The watershed moment was the 5-1 at Reading, where I think he got humiliated on Sky.
Where Skuse and Gherkin were saying to you, to me, to you, to
Yeah.
me.
It was after that suddenly everything got tightened up and every point was a prisoner. Because I think he wanted to play a bit more expanded stuff, didn't he? And we were
Yeah,
like,
'cause that was the season after the playoffs, wasn't it?
That was
that
the
game could have been 3-0, but ended up 5-1.
That was the game Ollie Norwell turned into Lionel Messi, wasn't it? He scored like from 40 yards out.
I was at that
Friday
game.
night, wasn't it? It was a Friday
Yeah,
night, I think.
Not great.
I think
So
with
take,
Mick,
take. Sorry, Matt.
yeah, I was just going to say, with Mick, his actual mantra was, we could play really sexy football and get relegated. Well, I don't know any team that's ever been relegated playing with such confidence and passing game that they've actually gone on and lost the match, gone on and lost the games and got relegated.
I do.
Two
I
don't
do.
go together.
I do.
Go on then.
George Burley's season in the Premier League after the UEFA Cup 5th place finish. We played some lovely stuff. Possession stats were all in our favour. Got relegated.
Yeah, I always think the key was the 6-0 when we lost. Well, we lost to Southampton and Liverpool, didn't we? When Chris Marsden scored the goal like marathon in the halfway line. I think that was the only time I've ever walked out of Portman Road before the final whistle. I thought, no, you've just let a bloody journeyman dribble through your defence and make you look stupid. We played some good football this season. We did. We hadn't won till we beat Derby, didn't we? And then we went on a big losing run, beat Spurs away. I remember that. And then it was like, did we win 6 out of 7 or 7 out of 8?
We played Everton in January and we were in the side.
Beating Charlton away, 2 up after 5 minutes. That was
New Year's Day. I was at that one.
Yeah, Serini didn't fancy it, did he?
That's a good point, right? Yeah, I'll accept that. That is a good point.
Well, it's just because obviously TWT have a great on this day function, and you can read back the match reports, and I've been reading them back as they come up every day. And like last week, Arsenal got beat 2-0, but we bossed the game according to the report. Bossed it. We just had no cutting edge, but we lost 2-0. And I remember a lot of games that year. Leeds at home. I think we didn't do well that day.
Lost 2-1.
Yeah,
played well. Played really well.
Yeah. West Ham at home played really well. Got beaten. I think it was 5-2 in the end.
3-2.
Marcus Stewart got injured, didn't he? So that was a big sort of big blow. So
that Southampton game you were talking about, I always remember that because I flew back from holiday. It was the end of my holiday. Through the night from Tenerife, landed at Heathrow, went straight to Portman Road.
For a Chris Marsden show.
Yeah. It was, I think it was 19 years ago today we played Milan in the San Siro.
Got beat 4-1. Yeah, great day.
And here we are talking about just scraping past Plymouth.
Well, let's welcome in Mr. Mike Brown. He's always got a good word to say about Paul Lambert. He'll love the poster behind me. Mike, what were your thoughts on Paul Lambert and yesterday and everything, really? Tell us what you think. Can't hear you, mate.
You're muted. Everything get muted when they come on the show, mate, don't they? That was been yesterday.
It's not me, I swear. No.
Paul Lambert's business.
Yeah, it's Lambert. You have to try and sort it out, Mike. Oh, hello. Go on in.
Go on.
Hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Thank God for that. I've had no end of PC problems this morning.
You want to stop buying headphones off the back of lorries, mate?
Now, where are we all today? All good? All feeling a bit buzzy after yesterday's show ice? I'm going to say it.
Crystal Palace beat West Brom.
Lucky win. Look, I'm happy for the fans. I'm happy for the players. Paul Lambert didn't do anything yesterday to change that game. That sending off changed the game. There was no two ways about it. We were shambolic. I mean, I messaged Martin through that first half, didn't I, chap? And I said, "Oh my Lord, this is just woeful." Look, we got away with one, and we're third in the league. Albeit, okay, we got a few games underneath teams underneath us that could potentially go above us. Are we seriously title contenders? Are we seriously playoff contenders? Playing like we are? No, we're not.
We can't be title contenders. I'll win their game in hand. It'll be 8 points clear of us, I think. Something like that.
It's ifs and buts, though. Isn't it? Ifs and buts. Why can't we just enjoy a victory?
Who is this man? Where is Richard Musk
someone's
gone?
replaced him.
Look at this man.
Who is he?
Okay, Cruncher, what have you taken this morning? Come on,
Yes,
be
he's
honest.
got- Can I have some?
No, look, I'm
There you
like
go.
I say, I'm. You've been
He ain't
watching
stopped
80
since
videos,
yesterday.
haven't you? Look, I mean,
We'll
look,
get the hat out. We'll get the hat out next week.
I mean, Nolan took his goal well. He always seems to come up at the right time, doesn't he? Sometimes he scored a lot of goals, but Jackson really. I mean, Lancaster's penalty, blatant. How that ref has not given it, I do not know. It was a blatant penalty for me.
Mr. Big
How
Money.
do you give them a free kick, Mike?
Sorry,
You give them a free kick.
I know. I was like, what's
On
he
that
doing?
challenge. On that particular challenge.
No, it's something outside the area, but I watched it 3 times and I still can't work out.
Yeah.
Trouble is, we can't blame poor decisions like that for our performances, can we? Let's be brutally honest. I mean, even yesterday, it was, like, I was like, oh my God, as if I got to sit through. I mean, I could only watch up to about sort of 70 minutes and I missed the 2 goals, but I looked back and watched them this morning. But I was like, got to go to work, and I was going to work and I was like, what can I say about this? And I'm like, but I looked at the scoreline within 10 minutes of getting into work and I was like, oh my Lord, okay, what's happened? And then I was like really excited. I thought, yes, that's better. Then I looked to see a 10 man and a red card and I was like, well, there we know why. But no, I think the lads could do with a win, if I'm honest. I think the boys need a win. Them young lads, Lambert's told us fans that we are too negative towards them players. No, it's only the senior players I can think that most of us are really given a lot of grief to. The young boys that are coming in are doing a job, they're just playing in the system, ain't really working. And Lambert knows this. Surely he's got to know this. Lancaster put a peach in yesterday, unlucky not to get the penalty. But again, first half, I think we got 1 shot on goal. Was it 1? In the second half, I think we had more.
Probably
But it's a
Plymouth again. We
game.
made Plymouth look brilliant. Sorry,
It's
Martin.
a 90-minute game, mate. It doesn't matter if you have 1 shot in 10 minutes or 100 shots in 90.
Right.
It's all the
Hang on a
matter.
second.
It
Did
doesn't
you say
matter.
that? Did you say that Tuesday?
Mike,
what
just
I
play
said
the
yesterday.
half-time show from yesterday when him up the top there is losing his shit.
Very angry.
I had some painkillers and they reacted badly, all right?
The poster was taken down.
It fell
If it had
down.
been-
The blue tap was faulty. I would never desert that man. He's a fellow Lambert. No, it
If
was
it had
bad.
been
It was bad.
2,000 Ipswich fans watching that game yesterday, I can tell you now, half-time, Lambert would have had to be escorted off by security. We said that last week, but
Lambert,
all over
You
again.
don't feel pressure.
Yeah.
You don't feel pressure. He wouldn't.
Oh, no,
He
he's-
wouldn't even know. He's got no self-awareness.
Do you think
So, is
Jackson
that a Star Wars poster behind you? Because I can see Jabba the Hutt, Princess Leia, and sorry, I just
Mike,
waiting
do you think
for the
Jackson
lightsaber.
Do you think Jackson would have scored that 1-on-1 if he'd had more games leading into that match?
Jackson's a bit hit and miss, isn't he? I was a bit surprised he got caught by that defender, if I'm honest. I was a bit surprised. I thought Jackson had a bit more pace than that. Should he took it earlier? I think a confident Jackson would have took it over. Maybe, got the ball, maybe dinked it over a bit like sort of Rashford did against West Ham yesterday. But
He straight to
I
the keeper,
think-
didn't he?
So I just it just begs a belief really whether
I
whether
don't think
Lambert whether Jackson would have got that whether he'd have got that goal on form.
on
I
the,
don't know. It's one of them, isn't it?
Ben on the show yesterday said he'd taken a leaf out of Norwood's 1-on-1 book.
I don't think it was game time. I think it was just awareness. I think if you
Yeah,
watch his
maybe.
overall play, he does lack some game time awareness at times. He's an instinctive player. I think he needs a chance, like in the second half, the second goal. He needs to sort of not think about it. When he has to think about it, it's when it goes horribly wrong. He's
Instinctive.
And he reminds me of Danny Haynes. Danny Haynes, if he ever thought about it, he'd miss. If he didn't, it'd go in.
Yeah.
So much
Jackson. I think Jackson should be a starter in this league. I really do. I think if he, got a few goals under his belt, I think maybe
He would be automatic in a two up top, wouldn't he? You'd want that pace,
we're so looking for partnership, aren't we? We really are. Yeah. This 4-3-3 system is just not helping us, and we bang on about it every week. But I guess once a few of the sort of, I suppose, technically the first team players come back, I think maybe we could do a bit better. We've got a tough game in the week now against Portsmouth. Is it Portsmouth or
Saturday? On Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday. Yeah, Portsmouth on Saturday, haven't we? Yeah. So and then Burton the following Tuesday, isn't it? Something like that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. We're here for every kick of it, don't worry. I don't think the formation, Mike, was wrong yesterday. I said it at half time.
4-3-3?
Yeah, I think actually yesterday, for the first time, we had players in a 4-3-3 that should have been in a 4-3-3. We had a number of attacking options for the first time in a long time where you could actually say the striker wasn't isolated. Like, you never looked at Jackson and thought, poor Jackson, he's on his own up there battling four blokes. So you had Dobra, Lancaster, even Judge around him consistently. And we were hurting them in between the centre halves. I did.
But Judge moved into the middle when we went down 10 men. It looked a lot more balanced, didn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I think, we got to have two strikers up there, and we got wingers. I mean, Lancaster can play some lovely balls. I mean, he's right-footed, isn't he? And yet he did a lovely left foot across yesterday, and I was like, do you know what? That's what we need in the team.
We love Lancaster on the show, don't we, guys?
Yeah. But there's a few people sort of slating his play, and I'm like, really? I mean, he's only sort of really got into the team properly again this year. He had a couple of bad back injuries, so you got to give the boy a chance, in my opinion. Dobra, I thought Dobra was best player yesterday. I ain't going to lie. I thought he was all over the shop.
He runs at defenders, which is kind of what we've been missing up with Edwards out.
Until Nolan scored, he's probably our worst. I'm going to be honest. Every time we get the ball, it's like, turn and pass back to me defenders. There we are. You can have it. I don't really want it.
There's a lot of 360s. That seems to be his go-to move. Johnny Duncan said it yesterday. It's his go-to
pirouette move. Yeah. God. Yeah. But I'm happy we got a win. Don't get me wrong. Of course I am.
Blimey, that's took you 10 minutes to say you're happy with 3 points.
I'm happy.
But many are.
Look, there's a part. Of course, I'm happy as an Ipswich Town fan that we got a win. But I was kind of hoping, secretly hoping, that we'd lose that so we could get rid of Lambert.
It was no secret, Mike.
Not me, but look. It's a win. We desperately needed something. We've had some shambolic performances, and even yesterday's performance again was shambolic. But we got a win, and even if they went down at 10 men, you still have to beat 10 men in front of you. It's not always easy beating 10 men.
You just have to look at the results in the league, though, Mike. Look at Peterborough. I think they've lost 4 on the trip. There's no real team. Hull drew yesterday. Other than Hull, who are really standing out in this league. We're all much of a muchness.
It's like every one of them's got COVID-19. Do you know what I mean? They're all running around. It's the lower half teams that I always fear because they're the ones that seem to be like Plymouth. I mean, I agree with you, Cruncher. By about sort of 70 minutes, I even sort of coming towards 60 minutes, I thought they looked a bit huffy and puffy. They were getting sort of a bit tired. They look a bit burnt out, but they. If we can, I don't know. We just think we need to be out on the blocks a lot quicker and a bit more. I think we need a bit too soft as a team. I think we need to be a bit tougher.
It's like Mitch said earlier. A lot of our play this season leading up to this Plymouth game has been very ponderous, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that kind of thing.
Yeah, a bit flowery, I call it. You have a flower, you have a flower, you have a flower, and sort of go from there. There's no real urgency in our play at all, and. Maybe I don't know. Maybe we don't know what's going on with training. It all comes down to training, in my opinion. My boy's just come back from football, and he, 2 minutes into the bloody match, he pulls a groin. I told him to warm up, but no. Do two kids listen?
Yeah, but warming up properly. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, maybe that's what's going on. Maybe the players ain't warming up properly. Maybe they're taking their roles a bit for granted, and maybe that's where all the injuries are coming from.
Yeah, you'd expect more from professionals, wouldn't you? But maybe. But we'll have to be out the blocks next week against Portsmouth because we were 2 down against them in 15 minutes in the FA Cup, weren't we?
We really
were.
Yeah.
Out the cup in 15 minutes, Matt. We were.
Mike, before I let you go, we move on to
Yeah.
the Media Mogul story. What is your points return, do you feel, from Portsmouth and Burton? Give us a points prediction.
Look, if we can get 3 points out of them 2 games, that's a positive, isn't it? Surely. I can't see us getting anything up. Look, if we win against Portsmouth, win against Burton, we can't argue, can we? Maybe then we can start to look at Lambert and think, okay, maybe he's learnt, maybe he's taken the criticism on board that we've all given. But until we're sort of, in that position, the end of the week, I fear for the end of the week. I really do. Do you know what? This league's so mad. We'll win against Portsmouth and lose against Burton.
Okay.
And that's so. I just can't see no more than 3 points. I'll be happy with that.
Well, that's fine. That's your prediction, and hopefully you'll join us on the match day ticket, and we can unpack it together on a Saturday and the Tuesday. But thanks for dropping by today.
No, thanks, guys. Again,
Cheers,
brilliant show.
mate. Good to see you,
We
buddy.
appreciate you, mate. We really do.
All the best. Yeah, take care.
The Media Mogul story in association with Networking 90. Don't be left in the dark. Get networking. Head to www.networking90.co.uk for more information. What you got for us, Phillips?
Well, all this talk this week of like the Paul Lambert Dow Hour and all that sort of nonsense after the Oxford game, and then yesterday where he was kind of non-committal on things, and we move on and it's all negative and all that kind of thing. All like brings a black cloud over everyone's heads, isn't it? So we're going to bring a little bit of Christmas cheer. Some managers can bring Christmas cheer to their fan base. So John Coleman, Accrington Stanley, great character, same division as us, of course. Half the budget, quarter of the budget, an eighth of our budget. They haven't got our resources. They've decided that they're going to start putting out Christmas messages for the fans and to advertise as such. John got on the mic and did a little rendition. Have we got the video there, Martin?
We have.
Step into Christmas, let's join together. We can watch the snow fall forever and ever. Eat, drink, and be merry. Come along with me. Step into Christmas. The admission is free. Ooh, hoo, hoo.
It's the hoo at the end that gets me every time.
Slightly off. But isn't that fantastic to see? A club that's punching above their weight in League One, got a fraction of our resources, and there's a manager enjoying life. Paul Lambert is not enjoying life.
Yeah, but once upon a time, I used to sit and listen to Mick McCarthy on BBC commentary and think he'd be a great manager for Ipswich. He's funny, he's witty, he can zing on one line. And at times, I thought that while he was here. But towards the end, I thought, oh, go away. And we're there with Lambert, aren't we, Cruncher? We're now at that point where you just see his face and you go, come away.
I thought John Coleman, he's got a better voice than Matt Phillips.
Oh,
please. I've held that note at the end. Thank you very much. It's great. It's a great little video, that, isn't it? You tend to get it. Very community-based club, that, isn't it? So it's fantastic.
You've only got to look how they're doing in the league, Matt. They've got 3 games in hand on us. I think if they win them, they'll rocket up the league. They've got a much smaller budget than we have. We spoke to Mark Ramsey on Thursday about the season tickets. They've sorted the season tickets out at Accrington, and we're still stumbling around not doing anything.
But a lot of that...
they pulled our pants down with Donation. Got almost £1 million.
But a lot of that is the fact their chairman is front and central on Twitter.
Yeah, there you go.
Being proud and having the normal air about you when you're a chairman.
Talk about transparency. Post their accounts and does all sorts, doesn't he? Here's a letter I've sent to our MP, and here's
a question for you both. If Paul Lambert was to break out a Christmas song in a press conference next week, what song would he choose and why?
I don't know.
Hopefully driving home for Christmas back to Scotland.
I would say Fairy Tale of New York, because I reckon he's probably got the same sort of voice as the chap on there. I really do.
But you'd have to edit out that lyric, wouldn't you? He wouldn't be able to sing it, would he?
Well, of course. But I was going for the gruffness and the realness and the I'm from the Glaswegian sweet streets, and I had cardboard shoes, didn't he say, with Steve Evans or something along those lines? And I've lived the life, and just that sort
of. It's always about him, isn't it? It's always about Mr. Lambert. Yeah.
As it should be, being the manager. Jacob Farrow, he also says Fairy Tale of New York.
It's really cool.
Adam Flatt, Lambert's going to be singing The Boy Who Santa Claus Forgot.
Yeah, it's got coal in his stocking.
Stephen Parry, it'll be great, but we all know the pressure on Accrington manager is a lot lower here, so he can be jollier. Graham Tate, Paul Lambert's song would be fantastic. So yeah, let us know in the chat what song you think Paul Lambert would sing and
I
why.
did get that, what Steve's saying there, but what pressure is on Lambert? Because, we didn't firebomb them off the pitch when they were relegated, right? They was all applauded off the pitch when they were relegated. So it's hardly the most vociferous fan base, is it?
No, it's toxic.
It's Galatasaray levels of toxicity, yeah.
It is. Cruncher tackle, ready?
Yeah, go for it.
Crunching tackle in association with Networking 90. Don't let your business suffer the crunch. Brunel launches October 20th. I'm on to network.com. Head there for all your information. I'm waiting for new stuff from the sponsor.
Are we doing goats or we not got time?
No, we're doing goats. I'll tell you what though, before you do, I've got Michael Brown, lonely this Christmas. Amy Downs is beginning to look a lot like mid-table.
Very good.
Coxie, we missed you yesterday, Coxie. Lambert would sing Girlfriend in a Coma. Andy Gray, Stan of the Day by E17. Is he staying with us forever? Baby, if you got... I might sing that. If I get a bit drunk later on after McGavin, I might sing that to old Lambert.
Can you get the white jumper? We're going to sing it.
Oh, yes. Can you imagine it? Lambert, Taylor, Gill and Leo Neal spin them round and they can sing a bit like the music video. That'd be brilliant. If you're watching Jacob Henderson, that is what we want to see on the Twitter account coming up. That is the content.
What about Jim Henry? I'd love him in it.
He's gone now. Go on, Cruncher. Over to you.
Well, crunching tackle. I just touching on Lambert yesterday when he came out when Brenner asked him, I think, about Andre's new deal. He didn't know it, which was a little bit weird. But yeah, Andre Dazelle, it was Friday night, they broke the news. You would have thought Evans' statement went down like a lead balloon. You thought they might have dropped that in the middle of the week because obviously they must have known that it was in the offing. But I think with Andre, he's 21 now. A lot of people saying it doesn't really mean a lot. It just gives us a lot more sort of if anyone comes in from in the summer. I think he's the type of player now you really need to build your team around,
Agreed.
And I've got a little bit, I'm thinking outside the box here. I think he should be, I don't know what everyone thinks. You can comment in the chat. I think Andre Dazelle should be the next Ipswich Town captain.
Sharp intake of breath. What are you basing that on then, mate? What are you basing that on, Rich?
Well, look, if Flynn Downs stays at the club, I think he will be the next captain. But I think he's gonna leave, and we need someone who's going to be here over a period of time, And at the minute, I don't really think there is anyone. There's no one sort of any leaders in that team, is there? So I think give him the responsibility. Say, look, Andre, you're going to be the captain. I remember his dad captaining the team when we won the championship. David Lidingham got injured, I think 6 or 7 games before the end of the season. He was a little bit older then than Andre, I know, but I just think give him that responsibility. Amy, you're not a fan. Amy's not a fan of him anyway, so I'm not even going to take that comment seriously.
Well, I will, because all opinions are welcome. Callie, 100% agreed. Rich, Andre, the next captain. I agree with Amy. Not about the ball situation, although I would like him to be less sloppy on possession, as I've said before. I don't think he's the right sort of character, and quite frankly, I think he's too good. He'll be gone. And leaders lead in different ways, Matt. Right? Like Matt Holland, if you dropped him into today's world with social media on the pitch, I think many people would say he's too nice. He's Mr. Polite. He smiles too much. Right? My gran said about Giovanna, who won I'm a Celebrity. I didn't like her. I asked why. She smiled too much. I'd never heard that before.
What about Harry Kane? Harry Kane.
Exactly.
He's not a leader. If you watch the documentary, the Tottenham documentary, when he's giving them speeches in the dressing room, are they going to lift you? Because it didn't lift me. But on the field, he leads how he plays. It might. I think the days of your big vocal captain shouting, your Terry Butchers, even Luke Chambers at the minute. Is he really leading on the pitch? We don't hear him when there's no fans there. We haven't heard him. So it's all about.
But you know Cruncher as well I do. 'Cause, we've both been to the end of season do awards and things like that. He is an alpha male. Like all the young
definitely.
guys look at him. He is the instigator of all the jokes. Like he's a leader because he's a natural alpha male. Like a bit like Jim Magilton would have been an alpha male in the dressing room, I believe. Whereas Matty Holland, I loved Holland. I did a campaign to keep him. So, I say it from a good place. He would have been probably classed as too nice, good club captain material, but is he going to lead on the pitch?
Even Jordan Henderson at Liverpool, would you say he is a captain?
But you're talking about world-class players alongside world-class players. Like if you're Salah, if you're Mane, do you need lifting? I don't think so.
Jordan Henderson is like a Matt Holland, really. He's that kind of consummate.
Yeah, I'm not mocking him. I think he's a really good player. I think he's really underrated. But is the days of a big voice on the pitch, I think they're sort of few and far between nowadays. I think football in general has changed.
You need someone who's going to cajole the dressing room, don't you?
Yeah.
That's what you need. Certainly in our level. Certainly at League One level, I feel you need that.
Or is it overrated these days? Because Arsenal, they ditched it for a while.
Passed it round, didn't they? They got who's captain now? Is Aubameyang captain of Arsenal?
I think he is.
Sure.
Absolute joke.
Yeah.
That's a joke. He's not a captain in a million years.
All right, Drew, calm yourself down.
Right,
Calm down.
Talking
Talking to Liverpool, haven't you got a story for us that sort of upset you in the week?
a goat.
You have. I'll play the song because I like the old
A
song.
goat.
Here it is.
Yeah, Jurgen Klopp. Right, everybody loves Jurgen, don't they? He's great. Comes out, does his interviews, but he's really starting. What's happening here? Oh, there we go.
There it is.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, there was a meeting in the week, the 3rd of December, and Liverpool failed to bring it up at the meeting, about moving to 5 subs. He's not the only one. You got Pep Guardiola. I looked yesterday, Man City against Fulham. How many subs did they use, Matt?
2.
3?
0. So it's sort of when it fits for me, it's like, oh yeah, we need an extra couple of subs. And you can see why, obviously Liverpool, your Man Cities, all your better teams, even like Ipswich yesterday, how many subs did we use? 2. We've got 5. Now, they're saying it's because the players are going to be tired, bless them, they're playing so many games. Russell Osman, when we won the UEFA Cup in 1981, I think he played 66 games, Matt. And so the pitches there were absolute mud heaps. Cologne, when we played Cologne away, we've all seen it. It's a mud bath. So this nonsense about he's moaning every single week, isn't it? Like Man City this season, they've only used 2 subs per game. And I know players are picking up more injuries. And last week he was on BT. He was having a go at Des Kelly when he was interviewing him about James Milner got injured, basically blaming the TV because they played the early game. I think this is 4 times it was. They played the early game after playing the Champions League game on a Wednesday. They have the early game on the Saturday. But these clubs, they're more than happy to take that money that they're getting paid for the TV deal. So you cannot have it both ways, Klopp, keep your mouth shut. Sick and tired of it. Concentrate on your football team, which are a great football team. And at the end of the day, in some of these games, don't play Salah, don't play Mane. You don't have to play him in every game, but he will do, won't he?
They also find the time to be able to go down under and to the Middle East and all that kind of thing pre-season, don't they?
Well, there you go. That's another story when they're on about bringing in a midwinter break, mid-season break. We all know what happened. They go to Dubai to have a friendly to get more money. So it's when it suits them. That's just my opinion.
Oh, Martin, we've lost you.
Sorry, dog snoring next to me. I agree, completely agree. I've got some comments here. Richard Paul Hedger, spot on. Richard Michael Brown, Osborne, 78 Cup final, played 59 full games. Stuart Codling, spot on. Cruncher. Giorgio 3. Listen to Gary Neville argument about it. Hit nail on the head.
Well, Gary Neville said about it's all about getting a psychological advantage because when Fergie was there, you know how he played the media, and Klopp's doing the same. When these teams are winning, they want to try and look at every psychological advantage they can get. Yeah. So that's another one. But I'm not really having it. You've got massive squads, these Premier League players. Yes, Liverpool have got more injuries. A lot of teams have got more injuries. Just get on with it.
Absolutely. Matt, have you got a goat this week? Did
I
something
have,
upset you?
yes,
Oh, you have?
Yeah, I
Ooh.
wouldn't say it's particularly upset me, but it's something I've noticed. So we've seen Sunderland this week appoint Lee Johnson.
What do you call him?
Well, the David Brent. That's what someone told me. Where he was doing a team talk pre-season.
When he was in Spain, in Marbella with Bristol City, when he was marching up, when he was marching around the pitch, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He'll fit in well then, wouldn't he, at Sunderland?
Yeah, he was getting Brent comparisons. But it's interesting that, if you've seen Sunderland Till I Die, and then I've only seen the first season, I've not seen the second one, but at the end of the first season, you had Stuart Donald coming in. So he's now going to be selling Sunderland, he's actually decreasing his shareholdership and increasing it to two other guys. One's called Juan Sartori, who's a Uruguayan businessman. And the other one, I think this is how you say his name, is Kyrell Louis Dreyfus, who's going to be taking 60% ownership of Sunderland. And he's 22 years old.
Wow.
He's 22 years old. His father was well known for owning Marseille for about 20 years. But now he's going to be the majority shareholder at Sunderland. It just gets me thinking, I've been sort of waxing lyrical in here recently about how we just need to get back into the community, how they need to re-engage, connect with our old spirit of the Cobbolds and Sheepshanks and all that kind of thing. If you watch Sunderland Till I Die, where do they spend a lot of their time doing fan engagement? It's in them working men's clubs in Sunderland, in the North East, isn't it? And now they've got a 22-year-old kid in. His mother is worth $5 billion or pounds. Is the richest woman in Russia, according to Forbes magazine. That is a club that is slowly losing its connection with its fan base, I feel, because you have a 22-year-old who's going to be the majority shareholder at Sunderland. I just think it's madness. He's going through that fit and proper persons test at the moment, but whether he passes it, I don't know. I believe Juan Sartori has, who was already a shareholder within the club. But that to me is just like, that would depress me if I was an Ipswich fan to think someone like that would come into our club.
Wouldn't depress
me. It makes me think the game is gone when you see that. It's so disconnected to the fan base.
What happened if he was 22-year-old though, Matt, and he come from Suffolk?
Oh, would he be all over him?
I just feel like in some of the interviews I've read around him was saying he was always just biding time until he could own Marseille. But, is he going to be there long haul? What's his connection to Sunderland?
What's he worth? That's what I care about. Like
billions.
Well, then happy days. Has he got a mate that wants the club? Has he got a mate?
It's just again, and it comes back to what I said. I put on Twitter this week. I hate how Ipswich always refer to Marcus Evans' statements as a message from the owner, like he's this corporation, the faceless PLC. And this is just going to be this is just so soulless to me. Just so soulless.
But would you rather be soulless? Would you rather be soulless, bobbing along, doing nothing, going backwards, and claiming painting the turnstiles is a massive victory? Or would you rather be soulless, spending lots of money? Like Derby, we all laugh at Derby because secretly we all think, yeah, they're a bit of a mess. But at least they're a bit of a mess, and every year as a fan, you've got a little bit of expectation where you think this could be the moment that they finally get it right. Every summer at town, we always think, who's being sold this week?
Yeah, I get that. I feel like probably the good model, and I've said it last week on the show, is the Portsmouth one. I just feel like that's a real connection within the community. It's more than just, Ipswich haven't won a trophy since, 92? Actually held a trophy aloft in the stadium, a first-team trophy since 92. So we're not used to winning trophies, right? So, therefore, just put that on the back burner a second. We need to get into a position now where we're back connecting with our fan base because we're so fractured, even with off the back of the Evans statement this week. I keep driving this. We need to be more community focused and people from Suffolk involved in the club.
It's interesting, Matt. You're on about Evans, and then look. I'm not going to name names, but I sent you that message this morning from an ex-player. I tried him to do something for the podcast, and he said, "I'm not interested with Ipswich Town at the minute. I want to keep myself as far away as possible." And he's not the only one. You've got a lot of ex-players are not happy how the club's run, and that is really sad.
It's really sad. How can you say that about Ipswich Town? I don't want anything to do with them at the moment. I find that unbelievable to me. But, while we're talking about Evans, right, he quite rightly got criticism over that. I won't be swayed into the same mistakes again, which was a very odd line and really stuck out like a sore thumb in that. When you come from a comms background, to see that written in there, that's kind of inflammatory, wasn't it? Because it was kind of saying you forced me into getting rid of McCarthy, other than the interview he did, and I posted it, the quote where he actually said, I sat down with Mick and we 100% agreed that the role would run its course. But, but there was a three things that I actually took out of the Evans statement, which maybe hasn't got as much coverage because of the other stuff. One was to strengthen his resolve to ring fence funds to keep our academy running. Fantastic. Could easily have sold players in the summer, but decided against it. Not player, Downs, players. Decided against it. Drilling our patterns of play into everyone at the club, along with our style of play. And we know when McCarthy was manager, the first team played a very different style of football to the kids that were coming through in the under-23s and below that. So there were three positives that I took out of that statement. I don't agree with what he said on the mistakes thing. I think that was a nonsense. But that was three positives I could find from that statement.
Talk me through those again, because I'll reply with each one. What was the first one?
The first one was he strengthened to resolve to ring fence funds to keep the excellent academy running.
He owns the academy, and the academy is what keeps him from putting more investment into the club. So if he wants to put less investment in the club and have a Flynn Downs come through in 5 years' time, he needs to do that. Yeah. Next one.
But at least he's got that resolve to do it. Look at Brentford; they ain't got an academy no more.
A bit like me saying I've got resolve to pay the mortgage. Like if I want a roof over my head, I want to keep paying the mortgage.
It'd be interesting, wouldn't it, if Brentford got relegated into the third tier again without an academy? Bearing in mind you can have that salary cap and everything. But yeah, that's another conversation. Could easily have sold players in the summer, but they decided against it. So that would have been an easy option.
Pandemic. That's why they didn't go.
But fair play to him. He could have said, okay, yeah, pandemic cup, we'll do 2 million, but he didn't. Fair play. I'll hold my hands up. Yeah, okay, Marcus, got me there. The next one.
Drilling our pattern and style of play into everyone at the club.
Handcuffing a manager to a certain style. Like, if you employ a manager and you say, right, you're the gaffer, you do what you need to do. If you're building a house, you employ a foreman and an architect and you say, right, this is what I want. I want 4 beds, 2 bathrooms, blah, blah, blah. You don't then come in and lay bricks yourself. Like, are you the manager or the owner? Are you both?
I think it's leadership from the top in it. I mean, Barcelona do that across all their age groups, and I actually think, when I was working at Wembley, all the England teams were drilled into the fact they would play the same style of football. I think it makes sense within a club setup. Otherwise, you got that thing where McCarthy was playing hoofball, and then you go down into where Brian Clew was looking after the kids, and they're playing nice 1-2 touch game. You need everyone playing at the same style.
No, I don't disagree with that. Don't disagree with that at all. Just like when we've read previously about him getting more involved in the day-to-day and being more
I think that's a positive.
Well, it is, but equally, you're not the manager. You ain't got any coaches, managers.
But he does own the club currently. He's the custodian of the club currently.
That scares me, though, when they say he's getting more involved in the football side.
It does me as well.
No. Like you said before, Matt, I think it might be you, Martin, Marcus Evans is the owner. We know that. You go away, Marcus. You let someone. So someone, for me, it would be a chief executive, someone like Terry Butcher. He's linked to the club, played. I think he could be that sort of link. I really do.
It needs to be someone with knowledge and a contact book and all the things that, like, I want to say it again, Joe Royal. The reason why we were so successful under Royal was A, he was a good manager, but B, he had a contact book so big. If you needed a midfield player, hello, Dave, that favour you owe me. You've got a midfielder sitting in your reserves.
Tony didn't.
Well, yeah. I mean, wasn't the greatest player in the world, but he came when he needed. You know what I mean?
Big shorts. The size of his shorts.
Huge, yeah.
Parachutes.
What I took out of the Evans statement was it seems to me that's that one line about, I'm not going to be swayed, etc.
It's really odd.
That worries me. Have we got an owner that's now paralysed by fear? Doesn't want to make a decision about anything in case it's wrong. In case
Swayed was a very funny line. I reckon that paragraph was rewritten a few times. I can't believe that went through as the first edit.
But it showed to me he's not got convictions and actions anymore. Like, he wasn't sure then, and he's definitely not sure about the situation now. Like, surely when you make a decision, like if I'm having roast beef for dinner, that's a conviction. I'm making a decision. You made the decision, Marcus, to sack Mick, hire Paul, do this, do that. Like, we're so far removed from that situation. Why is it even mentioned anymore?
And it's not forget he has failed its own objective, which was to get us into the Premier League as quickly as possible. Now we're in the third tier.
Like Mark Ramsey said, the statement needed to be short, sharp, to the point. By the end of it, you're just bored. It's just a load of drivel.
Well, it was really
Absolutely.
welcoming fans back to the ground, wasn't it? But then it starts going into.
Are we
other
talking
things.
about that? Are we still got time to talk about fans? Because you've got
All the time in the world, my boy. Don't worry.
a problem up there.
I'll be
I've got
tackling you in a
to be
minute.
through by 3. I'm going out for lunch. Hence, I'm in the shirt.
So, talk to me about this Twitter thing. These are my 2 items now. So, first of all, the Twitter thing, the unfollow brigade. What is all this about for those that aren't on Twitter?
Statman, come up with it.
Right. So, we're going to unfollow the football club, but going to the ballot, right?
Not me. I've just unfollowed the club. It's the only way you can make a protest right now, isn't
Like,
it?
unfollowing the football club has to be the most peak 2020 thing I've seen.
We've still got 170k followers, Matt. I looked this morning. It's still the same.
Like,
They'll
Marcus
see it
phones
in the
up.
back end. They'll see it
Right,
in the
Marcus-
back end of their analytics.
Yeah,
It's
but
gone
Marcus
down.
phones up and he goes, "Hello, Lee. How many fans in the ballot? 4,000, Marcus. Brilliant. Oh, but Marcus, our Twitter followings dropped by 5,000. All right.
They know what's going on. They know there's a hashtag going on. And at least the bonus is you don't have to listen to Paul Lambert talking.
That's true. That's true. Something else I picked up, and I just wanted to share this with you. It was a news article, and it was labelled, or it's been labelled, "Christmas is ruined." Right?
Oh.
So, the makers of Celebration Advent calendars have received brutal backlash after fans discovered what they've labelled as a sick joke behind its doors. Chocolate lovers have been forced to tuck into a bounty bar for the 4th day in a row, and they're furious, reports the Daily Star. For the last 2 years, they've put it on number 1, but this year it's been behind 4 doors, and one person claimed it's ruined Christmas.
I like bounties.
I love them, but it's ruined Christmas.
They used to do a dark chocolate one. They used to have a red wrapper, didn't it? Remember that?
What's your favourite?
Bounty
Chocolate
King.
bar. Whisper.
Whisper?
We've turned into the
Cruncher?
Kings of Anglia, haven't we?
Favourite
We
chocolate
do all
bar?
sorts. Yeah, favourite chocolate bar.
Lime bar.
Like, oh no, they're too much for my teeth. I've only got
Talked about it the other week, didn't we? At football at half time. Up a Bovril.
Yeah.
And a lime bar.
I just saw it and I thought, Christmas is ruined. Because it's a bounty bar 4 days in a row.
Coconut.
It's like that big. Just put it in the bin. Like, why is it ruined Christmas for you?
You're forced to eat it.
Talking of which, on Twitter, there's an account called "Didn't Happen of the Year." Have either of you seen it? Either of you follow it?
No.
They're things where you see a post.
Hang on. Just pause. I thought you're not on Twitter.
Well, you see, I see you know everything. But no, I was on there today because obviously on the day we have a show, I have to go on there to retweet Cruncher. Otherwise, he gets upset because his knickers in a twist.
I don't think you actually retweeted this morning, did you?
No, I couldn't be bothered. But no, I was too busy enjoying it. But there's this Twitter account, and it's posts that are made on social media, and then they've brought this account's attention. And every year they have a Didn't Happen of the Year awards. And I think they're kicking off tonight, right? And there's some absolute pearlers. So if you are on Twitter, head there, find it. Because some of them is brilliant, you know. Like my 3-year-old's telling me this, or it's just absolutely brilliant content. And Neil Peaks, be great to have KVY back. It will be. Stephen Parry, the folk that are offended by everything, get a grip. Adam Flat says, topic. Ashley Bell, Lion Bar's a proper dad chocolate bar, isn't it?
Topic's proper 80s.
Like Yorkies, right? That slogan in the 90s, that wouldn't be allowed today, would it, man?
No, exactly, yeah. Yeah.
No, it certainly wouldn't. Right. Points prediction before we round up. Portsmouth and Burton. Cruncher, what's your points prediction?
Well, I'm in the ballot. I'm hoping tomorrow I'll get some good news.
MDF.
No, I'm just look.
He's in for the lads, isn't he? You're in for the crunch bunch, aren't you?
Stated before, the boys wanted to go, and if I get a ticket, it'll be a little bit of normality getting back into my life because I haven't been to Portman Road since March. I know you two, you're not going to be in the ballot, which if you want to enter, you don't want to enter, look, it's fine. Everyone's got their opinion. But if I do get a ticket, I'll be excited driving there on Amy. No, we won't use that.
Michael Brown, hashtag MDF.
Oh, go away.
Hashtag. Get it trending.
But it's like I said before, it's very important now to follow up the 4 points that we've got from these 2 away games. And people saying, oh, yeah, Portsmouth, they're tough. Portsmouth are going to be fearing coming to Portman Road, you know. It shouldn't just be that we're scared of playing them. You know, it shouldn't.
You've already been to Portman Road, Rich.
Yeah.
FA Cup.
So how many points, Rich?
Pompey beat Posh yesterday, didn't they?
Yeah,
How
2-0.
many points? How many
I'm
points?
going to go for 4.
Eric Clacton driving home, 6 points hopefully.
No.
Stephen Parry, 6 points as well. Stuart's gone 4 points like you have, Cruncher.
Yeah, I go 4.
Matthew, what would you say?
I can see the thought process around 4. I think we'll lose to Portsmouth. I'm still not losing out to the fact that we weren't very good for 70 odd minutes yesterday. So I think we'll lose to Pompey, and I think we will beat Burton. So 3 points.
3 points. Okay. I'm going to be Mr. Optimistic as always and say 6 points. Trevor says 3 points. Hey, if you can't be optimistic before it's happened, why even bother? I think you'll get tickets, Cruncher. I just got a funny feeling that you're going to get tickets. Call it a premonition. You'll be there.
It's going to be different. It's not going to be. I was driving home today, and there was a Watford fan, and he said it was a bit of a soulless.
Have those?
Yeah, he said it was a bit of a soulless experience going to the game yesterday. But I think I've watched it on the TV. There's only 2,000 fans at these games, but like the game yesterday, watching that game yesterday on the iFollow, it felt like more of a proper game with people in the stadium.
It did.
Yeah. I agree. That was good to see fans back. It was very good to see fans back.
It was. But then Plymouth are happy, or they're happier than Ipswich Town fans. I just feel, and I'm not going to call anybody a certain title or what have you, because as you've said, go in for it, don't go in for it. But I struggle, because obviously doing this role and doing the ticket as well, I see a lot of backlash. And I get a lot of flack for that behind me, right? Or for my opinion on this man here. Now, I'm not in the ballot. And obviously, people would say, Paul Lambert fan, Martin Lambert, right? I'm not in the ballot. So when I have people come in here and sort of slam their fists down, get really passionate and say, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, but I'm in the ballot, I just think it's a wasted opportunity, because for the first time ever, it's now, 9 months since we went to a game?
Yeah.
So you've got 9 months where it's almost become a habit not to go. What a statement to say no. I'm refusing to come back until that man there is removed, because I don't like him and I want other things to change as well. But we'll get to those after he's been removed, because we had all the feel-good stories on the news about how fans have come back and it's all good. You've never had a story that said fans are allowed back, but they refused. That would make international news.
Have you seen Ashley Bell's comment?
They look like Crunch's name in the ballot. Check Twitter. See, doesn't follow the club on Twitter and put it in the bin. They may well do. No, I think they'll let you in.
Look, a lot of people won't go because obviously their feelings towards the manager and the owner. But then you have to, a lot of people, and I've seen a few people on Twitter over the weekend, Martin, saying, working from home, they've been working from home. We can't go anywhere. You can't go to the pub. You can't meet your friends. And if you go to the football every weekend and you've been used to doing it, it's a little bit, like I just said, it's a bit of a return to normality. You go in I know you've got to go in your bubble. You're not going to be able to meet your mates. So I think like a lot of the older people won't go, obviously, because they'll be afraid of COVID. And you'll get your lads and that who normally meet up and go to the pub, a few beers, they're not going to go. But for people like me, going with my boys is a big part of my life.
I get that.
It's a big part of me, because obviously I don't see them every day. And it's going to the football, just driving there, chatting like normal. And I know we're going to have to sit there. We have to go. You're going to have a mask on. I'll probably get there, Matt, and my temperature will be over 37.6 and I'll have to bloody drive back home, won't I? That'd be typical. If I get a ticket, I'll be happy. If I don't, personally, I'd rather have a ticket on Boxing Day, if I'm honest, because I've not entered for Burton because it's a midweek game. One of my lads, he does football training, and it's a bit of a faff getting there. So I'd rather go Boxing Day against Northampton, because for me, Christmas is all about football. You go on your Boxing Day, you go New Year's Day. So if I didn't get a ticket for Portsmouth and I got a ticket for Northampton on Boxing Day, I'll be happy. But look, if I get a ticket Saturday, driving to the ground, it'll be great.
The thing is, I get that, and I get all of the reasons. I won't call them excuses. I'll call them all the reasons. I get all of that. But we've gone 9 months. You're talking about one game, because the moment Marcus Evans phones up and asks how many fans are in the ballot, and the answer is a big fat 0 or 100 or 400, because not everyone will do this, 400. He's not going to blink twice about why they're not coming back because of the manager. Well, okay, we might have to make a change then. Like, you're sending a clear statement, and it's 190 minutes where you have to listen to music, go for a walk, watch it on iFollow. One game. There's Boxing Day, there's Burton, there's other games coming up. This is your golden opportunity. It's never been had by a generation ever before, and hopefully never again, to make a clear statement to the owner. It will make international news. It will be one of those fun pieces in San Diego where, if you could, would you? Well, fans in Suffolk, they're not returning. This is why. And we've got some reporter making the news story, because this is something that no club will ever do. And it's just a golden opportunity to say, we're not happy. You want us back? We want to come back, but we want change. Because once you're back and it's a regular thing again, Crunch, you'll have a banner, you'll shout, you'll scream, but it won't send the same message. It's not the same opportunity. And that's where I'm at it. And I'm probably still Mr. Patient, hold fire. But I do get the reasons. And I'm not saying any fan is whatever, from Clapper or otherwise, for being in the ballot. I get it. Everyone's got their own reason. I just think that's my personal opinion on it.
I'll probably get a ticket, and then next Sunday moan like hell when I'm on here. Why did I go? Shit. Wish I'd stayed at home.
But that's just my point. And I see Amy Down says, huge statement, but if I had the chance to go again, I would. Football is life. Some of us have no chance of going until next season, possibly even longer. And I get that, and football is life. But what do you want the football club to give you in your life? Happiness? Unhappiness? Like, are you that unhappy? Like, you've got to make a stand if you're that passionate.
But Marcus, with the owner's not going anywhere. He owns this.
Bottom line, though, isn't it?
He ain't going anywhere. He's going nowhere. Whatever.
Exactly.
If you go or you don't go, it'd still be
here.
here.
Stormed the pitch for Duncan, saying sack the board, sack the board. The board didn't get sacked. They just sacked the manager. Because every time you say, right, owner, you got to go, what's the nearest lackey they can sack? The manager. Because they can't sack themselves.
Very true.
Do you know what I mean? And in Duncan's case, I think the board moved around the table one spot, didn't they? So Sheepshanks became chairman. So they did, in a way, you did sack the board. But when you were screaming sack the board, you didn't quite mean sack the board. You meant...
Now, I think I was about 12 anyway. I remember standing I was in the Pioneer stand, Matt, and I remember when they ran on the picture of the banners and they were all running around the back of the dressing rooms. It was great.
The John Duncan era. That's the first side of the season ticket, that era, yeah.
Right, I think we're done. I think we've chewed the fat as long as we possibly can. We're back Saturday, 2:30 for the next day ticket.
No, we're not. We're back Friday night. Keep an eye on our Twitter this week for
news.
Yes,
Matt's
there's an avalanche.
in the week.
Oh, there's an avalanche coming. But until then, with love, with care, I'm going to leave you with the sultry tone of Mr. Phillips. I'm sure you can buy this somewhere. Can they buy it somewhere, Matt?
It's on iTunes, yeah. You can stream on Spotify. Yeah, just search.
I'm not going to tell you, Matt. I'm not going to tell you on air what Ollie said when I played it to him after football training on Thursday night. It wasn't.
You are a cruel man, but I love it. It's a right earworm. But
You'll get it in your head. I said to him, once you get it in your head, you'll be going to bed singing that.
You will. No, honestly, honestly.
I've got a little bone to pick, Matt. In the video as well, I'm a bit anal. So why was the rug not flat?
I don't know. Multiple takes. Yeah, just one that got through. Got through the edit.
If you want to talk about the video, there's a bit of the video. You can find it on YouTube. Matt, how can they find it on YouTube?
You just put in Ghost Station Christmas Telly, you'll find it.
There's a bit where you're all singing on the sheet and you look well and truly disinterested. You're like, I can't be bothered. It's my song. I've written it, but I can't be asked to sing this. I mean,
It's like 4 or 5 years ago, so I'll have to go back and have a look.
Right, well, here it is.
Hello and welcome to Portman Road. This sound indicates an important announcement.